Now that the Senate and the House have passed two tax bills, there are some crucial differences they need to resolve in conference before they can send the bill to President Trump's desk. Jenny Star/The Washington Post: The GOP tax plan on the cusp of becoming law diverges wildly from the promises President Trump and top advisors said they would deliver for the middle class, an evolution that shows how traditional Republican orthodoxy swamped Trump's distinctive brand of economic populism as it moved through Washington. The bill was supposed to deliver benefits predominantly to average working families, not corporations, with a 35% tax cut Trump proposed on the campaign trail as part of the Middle Class Tax Relief and Simplification Act. The largest tax reductions are for the middle class, who have been forgotten, Trump said in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, on October 22, 2016. But the final product is looking much different, the result of a partisan policy-making process that largely took place behind closed doors, faced intense pressure from corporate lobbyists and ultimately fell in line with GOP wish lists. As top lawmakers from the House and the Senate now rush to complete negotiations to push the tax plan into law, it amounts to a massive corporate tax cut, with uneven, and temporary, benefits for the middle class that could end up increasing taxes for many working families in future years. All told, the plan would cut taxes for businesses by $1 trillion, but cut an additional $100 billion in changes to the estate tax for the wealthy, and spreads the remaining $300 billion over 10 years among all households at every income level. White House officials defend the tax bill emerging from the House and Senate negotiations, saying it follows through on Trump's long-held promise of benefits for the middle class through a combination of exempting more income from taxation, expanding a tax credit benefiting families, and cutting business taxes in a way that will flow through to workers in the form of higher wages. The middle class gets a tremendous benefit, Trump said Wednesday. Yet a review of more than 40 public statements that stretch back to the 2016 campaign and interviews with key officials in the White House and Congress shows how Trump and his top advisors have continuously prioritized corporate cuts, even though they have promised that middle-class cuts would be their focus. Over several months, tax cuts for families were either stymied or scaled back, and corporate benefits only grew, a development that increasingly made some Republicans nervous as they saw the bill's true impact. Fundamentally, the bill has been mislabeled. From a truth and advertising standpoint, it would have been a lot simpler if we just acknowledged reality on this bill, which is it's fundamentally a corporate tax reduction and restructuring bill, period, said Representative Mark Sanford RSC. I think they were particularly concerned about anyone knowing what that might mean, so it was labeled as a middle-class tax cut. After Trump was elected, his transition advisors faced immediate questions about whether he'd hold true to his promise of a tax cut focused on the middle class. They could not have been clearer. Any reductions we have in upper income taxes would be offset by less deductions, so there would be no absolute tax cut for the upper class, Steven Mnuchin, Trump's national finance chairman and future Treasury Secretary, told CNBC. Senator Ron Wyden, the ranking Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, dubbed it the Mnuchin ruled out after Trump was sworn in. His top aides immediately began discussions with House and Senate leaders on how to combine his campaign promises with long-held GOP views that cutting taxes for the wealthy and corporations ultimately benefit workers. Inside the White House, Trump was being urged by his chief strategist, Stephen K. Bannon, a key voice behind the president's economic populism, to hit the very wealthy. At a meeting in April, Bannon urged that the Trump tax plan create a new 44% tax rate on income above $5 million, said three people briefed on his proposal who weren't authorized to talk about Oval Office discussions. He argued that this was a way to ensure that the wealthiest Americans didn't benefit too much from any changes and that working-class Americans could support the proposal. Bannon pushed that for several weeks as a way to gather political support for the tax bill. He's more of a populist, obviously, said Steve Moore, a conservative economist who helped Trump craft his tax plan during the campaign. Mnuchin and National Economic Council Director Gary Cohn, both former bankers at Goldman Sachs, argued against the 44% tax rate, saying such a high rate would harm investment, pile up costs for small businesses and ultimately hurt growth. As Trump neared his 100th day in office in late April, he was becoming restless because he didn't have a concrete tax plan.